To you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
It's another beautiful Saturday morning here in Lagos, and thank you for joining us on CoreTV News this hour. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Petroleum Minister Daisani Alison Madikwe has assured Nigerians that issues that led to the fuel shortage have been resolved. She disclosed that a meeting that was held with the various oil workers' unions that ended on a positive note. The minister spoke on the sidelines of a meeting on power sector reforms at the presidential villa.
At this point in time, I think all short-term planned projects that are to underpin that 5,000 megawatts are progressing steadily. We have commenced construction of the bypass pipeline with our gas company. I think also NPDC is carrying out workover of wells. Even Seplat is making very good progress at this time with the installation of the gas plant at Obe. It is also working on a number of wells for us. So we have put in place all the parameters to ensure that in the short to medium term, we are in fact able to support our 5,000 megawatt commitment. So it is our hope, it is still our hope, of course, that the gas pipeline sabotage will be one that is mitigated more and more and consistently as we go over the next 12 to 24 months. But it is a security issue, and we are doing everything to support the security services.
One soldier was killed and 4 others injured in an ambush at Beni Sheikh in Borno State. The Nigerian troops, however, fought through the ambush to dislodge the insurgents, according to military authorities. Defense headquarters said through its Twitter handle that 4 motorcycles used by the terrorists were captured. The military promised to release more information on the ambush that took place last Wednesday. Senate Minority Leader George Akume is opposed to President Goodluck Jonathan's request for a $1 billion loan to fight insurgency in the Northeast. He told journalists in Abuja that there is no need to borrow in order to fight insurgency if the country's resources are properly managed. Akume recalled that Nigeria, under former head of state retired General Yakubu Gowon, fought a 3-year-long civil war without borrowing.
I want to say, and very frankly, and rightly I believe, that we don't need to go a borrowing because we want to fight terror. We have pooled funds for fighting terror on the recommendation of relevant government machinery charged with protecting us. I also want to say that if we manage our resources properly, prudently, and with every respect to accountability, we shouldn't be talking about borrowing $1 billion to fight terror. Attaching this thing to terror doesn't make much sense to many of us. During the Civil War that lasted for 3 or more years, General Gowon was able to take us through that bitter and unfortunate era without borrowing a kobo. So what are we talking about, borrowing money now?
The federal government has directed heads of various institutions in the country to ensure maximum security in their schools. Education Minister Ibrahim Shekarau disclosed this when he led a government delegation on sympathy visit to Kano. He also expressed hope that the attack would not discourage Nigerians, especially in the northern region, from going to school. Shekarau, who spoke at a meeting with the provost of the school, also visited the Murtala Mohammed Teaching Hospital, where many of the injured students are receiving treatment.
Security is not a one-sector affair. Security is the business of everybody. The federal government, the state government, the local government, the communities, the elders, society, everybody should be concerned. It is unfortunate that the trend we're experiencing is institutions of learning are being targeted. This is most unfortunate, and I'm sure all of us, state and federal government, and all security agencies and all concerned will have hands on deck to ensure maximum safety of life and properties in our institutions. And as I said earlier on, we will see this as yet another challenge to whoever is concerned to further go back to drawing board to ensure additional strategies to detect and protect the lives and properties of the young ones in our institutions.
Meanwhile, the National Emergency Management Agency has promised to rehabilitate the lecture hall affected by the bomb and gun attack at the Federal College of Education in Kano. It also pledged to replace chairs and tables that were destroyed in the course of the attack. NEMA Zonal Coordinator Musa Ilala made the promise when he visited the bomb scene.
The State Emergency Management Agency, along with other stakeholders, were at hand, and they were able to evacuate some of this, all of the victims that were injured to the hospital, and also the dead ones. So we are this morning at the Federal College of Education to see for ourselves what damage has been done to the theater, and also we are now at the hospital to also see this injury. And our assessment is that in as much as we are concerned about this increasing attacks on public schools, we think we should ask the public to be very vigilant so that this thing will not occur again. And I can assure you that we have done an assessment. We will now go back to our head office and report what we have seen, so that what intervention the federal government through the National Emergency Management Agency can offer to the school, to the college of education, and also to the hospital here.
Just less than 48 hours before the September 22 school resumption date, how prepared is government and school authorities to contain the deadly Ebola virus disease? Find out more on that story and more after this break.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe. And watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Welcome back. As the September 22nd date for primary and secondary schools resumption in the country draws near, authorities of both private and public schools have insisted on adequate preparation and appropriate health facilities for checking the Ebola virus disease amongst pupils and their teachers. Now, the date, which has become controversial among school owners, administrators, teachers and parents, has remained a subject of discussion within and outside the public domain. Omotayo Alo has more in this report.
With just few days to the controversial September 22nd resumption date, the course that bears not clear as arguments from all sides of the bargain continue. Lagos State Chairman of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, Adeshegun Rahim, says the schools will only commence the new academic session when the safety of teachers and pupils are guaranteed.
A government official called me just yesterday that they will be distributing some gadgets today. If we move around, we discover that those gadgets are in post and in their right quantity, the school will open.
A principal of a Lagos-based private school, Adekunle Agbelu, stressed the importance of putting in place adequate measures to properly care for the pupils, the teachers and owners of the schools.
I think the most important thing is that let's do the right thing. Let the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, let them go around schools, see how prepared they are for this resumption, how prepared they are for our children that are coming to school to be well protected, not staying at home. Because I tell you, if these students will stay at home, nothing will be done. But knowing the fact that they are in school, then people will do everything to make sure that these children are safe.
For his part, the treasurer of NUT, Kolawole Amao, told the line of his chairman, but added that authorities should ignore the calls for hasty resumption without first putting safety measures in place.
There is also a moral demand on us to protect the pupils and students we teach. Because in the event if there is an outbreak among the rank and file of the pupils and students, definitely teachers cannot begin to celebrate. It will spread.
As controversy persists over the issue, it is not clear if the September 22nd resumption date would be adhered to by all. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
In the related development, Special Advisor to the Lagos State Government has raised fears over the September 22nd school's resumption date. Special Advisor to the State Government on Public Health, Yewande Adesina, says there is no cause for alarm as the stage is set for students to resume in what she declared are described as well-equipped environment. She made this known at a sensitization and enlightenment seminar organized for over 3,000 teachers by the State Ministry of Health. Here again is Omotayo Alo with the details.
The sensitization seminar was targeted at training teachers on how to manage deadly Ebola and arm them with adequate information for students and awareness of the virus. Teachers present at the training state readiness versus government to contain the virus.
There is no Ebola in Lagos State again. Like what they taught us now, it has shown the last person has been discharged last week. So the Lagos State is free of Ebola virus.
And I'm confident that with the knowledge we gain today, the Ebola disease will be out of all the schools and the students can learn effectively without any fear of the disease spreading in Lagos State.
These government personnel say the training transcends the fight against Ebola.
One can say without any fear of contradiction that we are almost 99%, I assure that our schools, our surroundings are safe and secured from Ebola.
We are saying that teachers should know what to do. Students themselves, the children in school should know what to do, particularly how to wash their hands. That is one of the things we have taught the teachers here today, to go back and teach the children, how to do. And while the government is also providing the infrastructure to wash hands, in those schools. I think with all this, I think the school is ready to resume.
For her part, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Public Health assures the safety of students and both teachers on resumption.
Lagos State Government, with the Ministry of Education and support from Ministry of Health, has put everything in place to make sure that your children will be safe. We are giving each school a thermoscan, not because we want them to use it to screen for Ebola, but so that any child that may develop fever in school will have the appropriate instrument or equipment to check and do the right diagnosis.
The training in the eyes of the state governments will reinforce the premium placed on people's lives and the importance of education in the development of the country. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The Lagos State Government has authorized the use of the First Consultants Hospital, the health facility where the first Ebola case was recorded in Nigeria, for business as usual. The state governor, Babatunde Fashola, who paid a visit to the hospital, reiterated the position of health experts that the hospital is certified fit to treat both in and out patients. The hospital played a major role in the containment of the spread of the deadly disease through one of its major consultants, Ameyo Adadevo, who eventually lost her life to Ebola.
We must be cautious. Understandably, public health issues remain and will continue to remain the burning challenge in a growing global population, and therefore our basic sanitation habits must improve. Our professionalism must improve. Our sense of duty and dedication must improve. If we take on assignments in whatever sphere of life, we must just discharge those assignments with dedication. You heard the testimonies yesterday from the doctors themselves, survivors, and other medical personnel, that it was also a doctor who just refused to give up on them, Dr. David. And this is the way it must be. Whether you're a journalist, you're a soldier, you're a police officer, you're a footballer, just do what you do with dedication and all will be well.
The 2014 Annual Conference on Corporate Governance, put together by a non-governmental organization, the Society for Corporate Governance in Nigeria, centered on collective responsibility and positive values, which speakers say determine good governance. Oluwaseyi Adedoke has details in this report presented from our studios.
The conference is tagged Leadership and Governance in the Public Sector. The Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola says leadership is a matter of value and character.
We all know what is good leadership and what is bad leadership. Again, there doesn't seem to be anything new about human behavior. I don't think there is. All of what we are seeing today have happened in the past. Debauchery in public office, murder, rape, killing, honor. It's happened before, and those of us who have followed the history of human civilization will say that there is nothing new. The actors are just changing. Good values will produce good leaders, and we must be the leaders that we want to be.
Representatives of the Central Bank Governor, Dipo Fatokun, says people must work together to achieve good governance.
Knowledge is not the exclusive preserve of any individual, and by extension, any government agency. Public sector leaders, therefore, cannot assume an egotistic pedestal. Rather, they must encourage robust discourse towards achieving consensus of matters of public policies.
Organizers at the event say good governance in the public sector is a collective responsibility which eventually determines good leadership.
The notion held at some quarters that the Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola is preparing a grand design to turn the state into an Islamic state has been dispelled. And this is by no other person than the General Superintendent of Deeper Life Bible Church Worldwide, William Kumuyi, who paid a courtesy visit to the governor in Osogbo. Rashid was there and filed in this report.
With all sobriety and thoughtfulness, we say thank you for bringing such a man to lead our state at this time.
That was the humility displayed before God and a symbol the state government has been preaching about religious tolerance. Kumuyi did not beat about the bush about his mission to the state, just as Aregbesola believes Osun will no doubt be blessed by the presence of the man of God.
Looking at about 22 years ago to now and seeing how my relationship with your church and your person possibly affected you, I would got my mind that my meeting you again will have a very, very huge positive impact on my life.
Aregbesola particularly tasked Kumuyi on the need to pray for the development of Osun, adding that the state is also poised to surpass the achievements recorded in the first term of his administration.
Our wish is to put into those 4 years programs, policies and projects that will only be possible in 20 years. And we are believing God that through the prayers of your time, it will be very easy and possible. Amen.
Overwhelmed by the hospitality and warm reception, Kumuyi, an indigene of Ilesha in Osun, says Aregbesola is not pursuing any Islamic agenda as believed in some quarters.
I don't know what they have observed or what they have seen. What I have seen is that
the governor, Ogbeni Aregbesola, is a governor for everybody in the state. And I believe that he's a man for everyone. And he wants the progress of the whole state, whether you are Muslim or Christian or non-Muslim, non-Christian.
The governor promised to attend the church crusade as an evidence of the peaceful relationship between Muslims and Christians in the state. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshobo.
Scotland has said no to independence. Find out more on their story and others after this break. Stay with us.
Glad to have you join us on another edition of The Political Arena, the most detailed and incisive political show.
If you are a sitting governor and the opposition is able to stomach structure against you, that means you are wicked to the people.
They gave me 20 minutes to move or they will shoot me.
He has no chance for survival. If he likes himself, this is the best time to get out before he perishes.
The PDP as a ruling party has failed.
So anybody who thinks that government will fold his hands and allow miscreants to take over the streets of our own state and cause havoc is deceiving himself.
The good, bad, ugly and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on CoreTV News.
Glad to have you back. Scotland has now said no to independence. The historic election will keep Scotland as part of the United Kingdom, but there are some significant changes still coming to the region. Scotland had a chance to break apart from the United Kingdom, but the public has spoken, and the vote wasn't even that close. About 55% of Scottish voters rejected the referendum to make Scotland an independent country. 45% said no. British Prime Minister David Cameron is now expected to go through with his promise to increase Scotland's powers. Electoral officials say almost 85% of the registered voters in Scotland turned out to make their voices heard. On sport, as Villarreal striker Ikechukwu Uche continues to prove to be Nigeria's most prolific striker abroad, with yet another goal in his club's 1-1 draw in the Europa League against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Former Super Eagles striker Jonathan Akpobere has questioned Uche's continued absence from the Super Eagles team. Uche has not played for Nigeria since they fell out with Stephen Keshi at the last Africa Cup of Nations in South Africa. And Keshi even claimed a few weeks ago that the former creative striker and elder of Spain always wanted to be begged to play for his country, even though the 30-year-old subsequently denied it. And that wraps it on CoreTV News of this hour. Join us again at the top of the hour for more stories. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.